Most men make a critical mistake when a woman pulls away. They assume it means she's lost interest. Their immediate reaction? Panic, desperation, an endless cycle of texts, calls, and overthinking, all driven by fear of abandonment. But in their frantic attempts to regain her attention, they unknowingly push her further away. Here's what most men fail to realize. True love isn't always loud. It doesn't always manifest in constant affection or verbal reassurance. Sometimes love speaks in silence. A woman may ignore you not because she has moved on, but because she is caught in her own emotions, unsure of what she feels, overwhelmed by the intensity of it all, or even testing whether you are the man she truly desires. This is the moment where weak men crumble. They seek external reassurance instead of standing firm in their own value. They mistake her quiet moments for rejection instead of understanding the deeper psychology at play. And in doing so, they sabotage the very attraction that once drew her in. But the man who understands this silent test, the man who remains calm, self-assured, and unwavering in his presence, becomes unforgettable. He does not chase, he does not beg, he simply exists in his power, allowing the natural pull of attraction to work in his favor. The ancient Stoics understood this principle well. They taught that a man's greatest strength lies in his ability to master himself. A reactive man loses control of his emotions. A disciplined man remains centered, knowing that true influence is not found in pursuit, but in patience. So why does a woman ignore you when she loves you? And more importantly, how should you handle it without losing your dignity? By the time you finish this masterclass, you'll discover the hidden psychology behind why she suddenly pulls away, how emotional control shifts the power dynamic in your favor, what to do when she ignores you without looking weak, the key to turning silence into attraction instead of desperation. Before we dive in, I want you to drop a comment below. I will not chase, I will attract. Now let's begin. 1. Women love through emotion, not logic. Men and women experience love in fundamentally different ways. Men express love through action, by providing, protecting, and showing up consistently. Women, however, love through emotion. Their feelings are fluid, ever-changing, and deeply tied to their internal world. This single difference creates endless misunderstandings in relationships. A man assumes that if a woman truly loves him, she will always be affectionate, always engaged, and always responsive. He expects love to be steady and predictable. But for a woman, love is not about constancy, it's about intensity. This is why a woman can have deep feelings for you and still ignore you. Not because she has stopped caring, but because her emotions fluctuate. Sometimes she is consumed by overwhelming feelings and needs solitude to process them. Sometimes she steps back to test your emotional strength, to see if you are the unshakable man she envisions. Sometimes she creates distance intentionally, because space rekindles desire in a way that constant presence never can. The Stoic principle, love without attachment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is where most men fail. They believe they must control the situation, demand answers, or seek reassurance. But the moment you react with panic, you lose the very essence of what makes you attractive. If she withdraws, let her. Do not chase, do not plead, do not break your frame. Attraction is not built through pressure, it is revived through absence. Instead of waiting anxiously for her return, redirect your energy inward. Improve yourself. Build your discipline. Strengthen your emotional control. Let her feel your absence as deeply as she once felt your presence. And if her love is real, she will come back. I want you to drop a comment below. I trust my strength, not her attention. 2. Her greatest test. Will you stand firm? Most men assume that a woman's tests only happen at the beginning of a relationship, when she's still deciding if he's worth her time. But this is far from the truth. A woman will test you for as long as she is with you. Not because she enjoys making you uncomfortable, but because it is in her nature to seek out strength. When a woman suddenly pulls away, ignores your messages, or becomes distant, it is often a test. She may not even realize she's doing it, but deep down she wants to see something. Will you lose control, become desperate, and chase after her? Or will you remain calm, self-assured, and unshaken? Most men fail this test. They panic, overthink, and demand explanations. But the moment you react emotionally, you confirm her worst fear, that you are not as strong as she thought. And that is when her attraction fades. The Stoic mindset. Control yourself. Control the outcome. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery in relationships doesn't mean confronting her or demanding answers. True bravery is the ability to do nothing, to resist the urge to react, to not seek reassurance, and to remain confident in yourself. A man who understands his value does not chase. He does not beg for attention. He simply continues to live his life, knowing that if she truly values him, she will return. And if she does not, he has lost nothing of worth. The strongest man is the one who is willing to walk away. If she chooses to ignore you, let her feel the weight of that decision. You are not a man who waits for breadcrumbs. You are a man who moves forward. I want you to drop a comment below. I stand firm in my power. 3. Women desire mystery. Give her space to crave. A woman does not fall in love with a man she fully understands. She falls in love with the man who keeps her intrigued, the man who carries an air of mystery, the man whose thoughts, ambitions, and emotions are not laid bare for the world to see. Most men unknowingly destroy their own attraction by becoming too predictable. They believe that constant attention and availability will make a woman feel secure in their love. So they flood her with messages, constantly check in, and make their presence a certainty in her life. But in doing so, they strip away the very thing that fuels a woman's desire: uncertainty. Desire does not thrive in familiarity. It grows in distance, in the unknown. A woman needs space to wonder about you, to replay your last conversation in her mind, to feel the contrast between your presence and your absence. If she never has the chance to experience that void, she will never truly long for you. Think about the times in your life when you wanted something the most. Was it when you had unlimited access to it? Or was it when it was just out of reach, when it required patience, effort, or uncertainty? The same principle applies to attraction. The power of absence. Why distance creates attraction? If you study the greatest love stories throughout history, they all share one undeniable truth. The men in these stories were not the ones who clung desperately to a woman's side. They were the ones who had a mission beyond love, men who disappeared to conquer, to build, to lead. Their absence created longing, and longing intensified love. A woman's heart is drawn to a man whose presence feels like a privilege, not a given. When you are too easy to reach, too predictable, too present, the mystery vanishes. And when the mystery vanishes, so does her excitement. If she ignores you, let her. The silence will work in your favor. If she pulls away, resist the urge to chase. Stay focused on your own journey. If she returns, it will be with renewed passion, because she had the time to feel your worth. The truth is, a man who values himself does not beg for attention. He does not try to force a woman to stay. Instead, he remains centered, unshaken, and focused on his purpose. And in doing so, he becomes the type of man who is not just desired, but deeply respected. A man who is too accessible loses his value. A man who cannot be easily reached becomes unforgettable. I want you to drop a comment below. I create desire through mystery. 4. When silence is a warning, not a test. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must confront a painful truth. Not all distance is temporary, and not all silence is a test. Sometimes it is a sign that she is slipping away, a whisper before the storm, a warning before the inevitable. Too many men ignore these signals. They convince themselves that if they wait long enough, if they prove their worth, if they just hold on a little tighter, she will return with the same fire she once had. But love does not work that way. A woman who values you may step back, but she will never leave you in complete uncertainty. A woman who still cares may test your strength, but she will not make you feel invisible. So, how can you tell the difference? How do you know if her silence is a test of your resilience or a quiet goodbye? A woman who is testing you will eventually return. Once she feels the space, her curiosity will pull her back to see if you remained strong. A woman who is losing interest will continue fading, no matter what you do. Your presence will no longer stir her emotions, and your absence will not create longing. This is where most men fail, not because they lack value, but because they refuse to accept the truth. They chase after ghosts, trying to rekindle a flame that has already burned out. But a man who respects himself knows better. He understands that no amount of effort can make someone love you if their heart has already left. The Stoic law: never chase a fading flame. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." The deepest wisdom comes from humility, the willingness to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. If a woman is losing interest, your only choice is to accept it and let her go. The moment you chase, you lower your worth. The moment you beg, you erase your dignity. A true man does not force love. He does not linger in the shadows of a woman's fading affection, hoping for crumbs of attention. Instead, he stands tall, knowing that his value is not defined by someone else's emotions, but by the strength of his own character. And here is the greatest truth of all: when you have the courage to walk away from what no longer serves you, you make room for what truly does. I want you to drop a comment below. I choose dignity over desperation. 5. The final lesson: stand your ground. A man's strength is not measured by how hard he fights for love, but by how firmly he stands in his own power. The world has convinced too many men that love must be pursued relentlessly, that a woman's affection must be won through endless effort, that if she pulls away, it is his job to chase. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. A woman will test you, pass the test. She is drawn to a man who does not waver, a man who does not crumble under emotional pressure. She will ignore you, do not react. The more you chase, the less she values you. The more you remain still, the more she feels your presence even in your absence. She will pull away. Let her come back on her own. The man who waits patiently without fear is the man she cannot forget. And if she truly loves you, she will return. Not because you begged her to, but because she felt the weight of your absence, the power of silence. Why? You must master it. Most men are afraid of silence. They interpret it as rejection, as a loss of control, as a sign that they must take action. But the greatest truth of attraction is this: The moment you stop fearing her silence is the moment you become irresistible. The man who is truly powerful is not the man who speaks the loudest. It is not the man who begs, who persuades, who pleads for love. It is the man who remains unmoved, a man who understands that his value does not decrease simply because someone does not see it. The moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts chasing you. The moment you stop proving your worth is the moment she starts feeling your absence. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment she realizes she never wanted to lose you. Now tell me, which of these lessons was the hardest for you to learn? I want you to drop a comment below. I will not chase, I will attract. And never forget, your true power is not in convincing someone to stay. It is in your ability to walk away. If you found value in this message, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support allows me to continue creating content that challenges common misconceptions and brings you insights that others often overlook.